Welcome to Focus Gaming News, and today we're just with the IAGR 2021 conference upon us. We are very pleased to be speaking to Jason Lane, a member of IAGR and also Chief Executive of the Jersey Gambling Commission. Jason, thank you for joining us.
Pleasure. Nice to meet you, Joe.
And it's a pleasure to have you with us. Just, of course, very shortly, the IAGR conference about to begin. It's obviously an exciting event this year in the sense that it's a physical event after such a long time when that's not been possible, but also in a digital format as well for those who can't attend. So perhaps to begin with, you could tell us a little bit about what we can expect from this year's event and perhaps the importance also of the theme in the current situation.
Yeah, sure. Well, as you're going to get the usual sort of high quality discussion. There's going to be a breadth of subject matter. I think we're going to have a discussion of some familiar themes like responsible gambling, but there's going to be new data and looking at responsible gambling in new ways. There's going to be innovation. We're going to be talking about big data. We're going to be talking about the use of AI. There's going to be issues around personal data. So it's a mixture of familiar themes, but with cutting edge issues. And of course, we're teaming up with IMGL, which is absolutely great. So you're going to have that mix of regulators, industry professionals, lawyers, academics, all coming together. And I think there's going to be something in there for everyone. Now, as the conference chair, I was really, really lucky because I inherited this theme. It's been in the planning now for 3 years, can you believe, pre-COVID. And Paul Newsom, the past president and patron of IAGR, initially came up with the concept of disrupting the regulator. And I mean, he could not have come up with a better theme, could he? I mean, it's smack on brand. So as far as I'm aware, and if any of your viewers and listeners know any different, he is the first person that I know of who recognized that COVID was coming to hit the gaming industry. So there you have it. Disrupting the regulator. It couldn't be better.
Yeah, disruption in several senses.
Absolutely.
It really was. And as you say, you mentioned of course, data and perhaps the amount of data that is now available to the industry and to regulators is perhaps sort of unprecedented. Do you think that's had a sort of changed the role of regulators in a way, or kind of expanded the what regulators can do?
Well, it certainly has, but I think it's also made regulators realize that they've got to think in innovative ways. We've got to work more, I think, in partnership with the industry. We've got to use the data that they have. One of the things I certainly recognize is that regulatory teams, for all their expertise and enthusiasm and zeal and budget, they're always going to be smaller than the industry that we regulate. We're always going to be probably less well-resourced than the industry we regulate, and we need to work together. And the use of developing new technologies is one way where the industry can help itself to help us, which helps the customer, which helps everyone.
Do you think that's maybe one of the possible solutions to the challenge of having all of these extra resources in terms of data, but there being the challenge of how needing the people to be able to process that and make use of it to its full advantage?
Well, absolutely. I think if we can use data and technology to come up with processes that transcend national jurisdictions, I know that's a big ask. But if we can look at certain themes and subjects, take responsible gambling as a good example, but if the industry can come up with a set of standards that will allow regulators to look at what we need to in a more efficient way, that's going to help clients, it's going to certainly help us, and inevitably it's going to help the industry as well. So I think that's certainly the direction we need to go in. I don't underestimate the task. I think this is going to be a long journey, but it's certainly one that we need to get on with.
Excellent. Well, just going back to the IAGR conference, do you want to tell us a little bit about who we're going to hear from, about what speakers you're looking forward to welcoming at the event?
Yeah, I mean, that is a really, really hard question, and it's a bit of a cliche to say, they're all going to be good. Personally, I'm really looking forward to the joint sessions with IMGL. We're going to be looking at tips for regulators from the industry, and then we're going to have the flip side. Regulators are going to be talking to the industry about, what regulators are really looking for. And I'm looking forward to some, quite zesty engagement over that, because, I think we've all got our own experience and different examples that we can bring to the table there. So I'm thinking that should be quite a good dynamic. I'm really looking forward to that. Throughout the 3 days, there's some fabulous speakers. I mean, we've got James Mader, who's always a great speaker. We've got Tina Thacker-Rankin, who's going to be showing us about new ways of committing old frauds. Lloyd Danzig's going to be talking about big data and AI. Sue Schneider, there's Simon Flatt. There's so many. It's really, really difficult to sort of pick one. But the one thing I will say as conference chair is we are trying to put together a breadth. And the one thing I'm really confident about is that on every single day, you will be able to find a session that grips and interests you.
Excellent. And of course, for those who are able to travel, it's very welcome to have a physical event taking place in Boston. Very exciting for people who have been missing that kind of face-to-face contact. Yeah. But it's also going to be the first IAGR conference with digital tickets available as well. So those who can't travel are able to also attend. Could you tell us a little bit about how that's going to work, how the digital experience will work for those who aren't able to attend in person?
Yeah, sure. I have to admit, I had a certain vested interest in this myself, as I'm going to be one of the people using the digital tickets. But it's again, it's going back to what technology can do for us, right? So we knew that there was a substantial risk, even if all the borders were open, that people might still feel that it was inappropriate to travel. So at a very early stage, the IAGR Board of Trustees and the Conference Organising Committee started thinking about whether having a digital ticket and remote access was going to work. It certainly involved more work because, if you do everything digitally, you go in one direction, you do everything physically one direction. So to do both has been... It's been challenging, I'll be honest, but I think the end result, all of the sessions are going to be, well, not all of the sessions, 90% are going to be live streamed. We have our business meeting, which will be private, and let's face it, you're not going to be missing much by not seeing that. But they'll be live streamed and also recorded. And that's really, really important because, of course, with a global audience, we have people who, in Australia, for example, may not want to get up at 3 o'clock in the morning to watch a session, but their digital ticket will let them participate if they wanted to, if they happen to be insomniacs. But they'll also, hopefully, within about 24 hours, each session will be uploaded. So they'll be able to watch them the next day. And having them recorded means we're going to start being able to build a library of experience, which I think is really, really important because I've been to many conferences. I'm sure you have, and many people have. You never pick up everything the first time, and to be able to actually look at something again and think, oh yeah, I missed that because I was busy thinking about something else, whatever. So the digital experience, I think, has a lot of value. If I had my choice, I'd be in Boston, no doubt. I think you can't ever put enough value on actually being there in person, in the networking, in the discussion that goes in and around the conference, the other meetings you can have. But considering we are where we are and, people like myself can't physically get there, I think the digital ticket's going to work really, really well.
Excellent. And it certainly seems like something that even COVID aside could expand access to the event for people who maybe aren't able to travel for time constraints and other reasons. Is it something you think that you might keep in place even in the future?
Absolutely. If there's one thing the last couple of years has taught us is that, digital interaction, digital communication, it works really, really well. Like I said before, it doesn't have all the advantages of being there in person, but it's got lots of other advantages. And if you can't, for whatever reason, travel to a meeting, then it's great. And like I said before, having that archive of knowledge and experience and keeping it on tap and being able to constantly refer to it, I think that's absolutely brilliant. So there is no doubt, I'm going out on a bit of a limb here because I've got to sit with my organising committee for next year, but I'm very strongly going to suggest that we offer a digital experience of some kind again and in the future. Brilliant.
And just obviously as a regulator yourself, as Chief Executive of the Jersey Gambling Commission, what do you think these events like this can contribute? What kind of fruits do you hope to see from this kind of event and the sharing of ideas among regulators?
Well, I think one of the things that's really, really important, COVID has, I think, made many of us, and not just in our industry, but across the world, it's made us a little introspective. I think it's made people feel a little bit insecure. And one of the things which is great about delivering the conference in Boston is showing that we're open, we're accessible, we're carrying on. I think it's a beacon of hope, really, for life moving back to a new normal. Coming from a small jurisdiction myself, I mean, we only have a population of 110,000 people. IAGR has been a fantastic resource for me through my nearly 20-year career in gambling regulation, because you need that network of people and ideas and innovation. We're never too old or too experienced to learn something new. I think COVID certainly taught us that. The way we work now, having to work from home, much greater use of technology, it's taught us that we have to look at things afresh. And I am really hoping that in the coming years, IAGR is going to be much more open, much more accessible, and much more engaging.
Excellent. We certainly look forward to obviously the events and look forward to the future developments from IAGR as well. Is there anything you'd like to add, Jason, about the events or IAGR's work in general before we wrap up?
Well, our door is always open. If there are regulatory jurisdictions out there that haven't heard of us or would be interested in joining, then of course, please get in touch. We're not all about just getting the membership money in. We're always happy to talk and engage and advise other jurisdictions, so membership and rattling the tin isn't absolutely essential, but engage with us. I mean, one of the strong things we're looking forward to in the next couple of years is partnerships with external organizations, building knowledge and doing it together, because at the end of the day, if you want to get a full picture of something, you can't just look at it through one set of eyes.
Excellent. Well, Jason Lane, thank you for joining us. Obviously, at the IAGR conference, Boston 2021, starting on September the 12th. So we look forward to the event. And thank you for your time and coming to speak to us about it today.
It's been a pleasure. I look forward to seeing, hopefully, lots of you there, albeit in little boxes.
Thank you. Bye.